Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be sharing with you a very interesting story about how a broke university college kid was able to generate over $1 million in less than 5 months with just a $50 investment. So this is a crazy story and this inspired me, and I felt this week I'm going to share this story with you. And the name of this kid, his name is called Alex Tew. So Alex Tew, and he's a British college student, and he was able to make this amount of money in such a short period of time in a very innovative way. And why am I telling you this story? Well, I'm telling this story, number one, because it's a very interesting story to tell you, but also number two, because it's very inspiring. And many of you are looking to make money online, you're looking to grow your business, or you're looking to get some sort of success. And it's very important that when you're in this position of trying to get success, that you're able to hear stories of other people who've gotten success to understand how they're doing. Now, the goal is not necessarily to copy what they've done, because frankly, what they've done is not going to work multiple times, right? But the idea is to understand how they thought through the process of going from where they were, which is where you are right now, looking to find success, to their goal of finding success, which in this case is going from unemployed $0 to $1 million in 5 months. So let's dive into the story. So in 2005, Alex Tew was a 21-year-old university student, or a college student if you will, and he was facing a big problem. And the problem was that he was stuck with trying to pay his university tuition fees, and he was not quite sure how to raise that money, and he couldn't afford it. And then he came up with this insane, crazy idea that would change his life forever, and that's the whole reason why we're talking about him today. So he decided that he was going to create a website called milliondollarhomepage.com, where he would sell each pixel in the website for $1 each. So any normal website, if you're familiar with the world of graphics or computer science, screen is made up of small pixels, and the combination of all these pixels is what makes a picture visible. So basically, if you reverse engineer a picture, it's broken down into small pixels. So the idea that Alex had was that he would have a landing page, and he would sell each of those pixels that makes up the page. He would sell it as an ad, if that makes sense, and he will charge $1 each for 1 million pixel, which means that if he sells 1 million of those at the spot, then he would make $1 million. So it's kind of crazy. It's a simple idea at the end of the day, but it's also crazy because why would anyone pay $1 to have their logo on a website? But the idea is that if you're able to find a way to drive enough traffic to that website, then maybe it makes sense for a company to invest $1 into having their logo on this landing page. And that's very interesting way to think as an entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is all about creativity, and you have to come up with creative ideas. Now, I will share the story with you, and then once we're done with the story, I'm going to then talk about some of the lessons that I personally have learned from Alex's story as an entrepreneur, and what you can learn as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur from Alex's story. So if you want to check this out, look at milliondollarhomepage.com. So that website is still active, and you will get a sense of how crazy this idea is. So milliondollarhomepage.com is the idea. So he was able to sell these links, these image-based links, and the idea is that if people visited it, they would go and see all of these logos and all of this pages, all of the companies in this page, and then it would help their own ranking for their own websites to go up, because it's sort of like a backlink. So if you're familiar with SEO, that's basically how SEO works. The $1 million homepage became a sensation overnight because it was such a new idea, and it was so novel and so new that everyone was fascinated by the idea of a guy selling 1 million spot for just one landing page, and having 1 million people paying $1 each, which is combined to $1 million. And it was so fascinating because people were blown away by that. So he was able to sell all 1 million pixels, all 1 million spot on this landing page. He was able to sell it within 5 months, raising a total of $1 million for his project. Now, at first, many people thought that this idea was crazy, and many people were not even interested in supporting him. But with a lot of persistence, with a lot of determination, he was actually able to reach out out to all the numbers of people he needed to reach out to, and he was able to sell that spot. Now, Alex has gone on to do bigger things. He was the co-founder of a company called Calm. So Calm is valued at $2 billion. So he clearly took this experience and he clearly took this win and was able to transfer it into other success in other businesses. So it's a very crazy story. It's a very interesting story. It's a very inspiring and motivating story because it shows that anybody, especially in this day and age of the internet, of AI, of ChatGPT, you can go from zero or unemployed to hero, to building the business of your dreams and building the lifestyle that you want for yourself. And personally myself, this was something similar to my story as well. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was unemployed. I lost my job in corporate, and I decided to go full into building a business. And today, we're doing multiple six figures per year, and we're on trend to hit 7 figures this year, which is quite exciting. But back to Alex's story. What are some of the lessons we can learn from Alex's story of being able to go from zero to creating this amazing business and bringing it into fruition? Well, the first lesson that came to my mind is that you are only limited by your imagination. So if, for example, Alex was thinking, how do I make $2 million? I'm pretty sure he would have found a way to go from $1 million to $2 million. Maybe he would have had 2 million pixels, or he would have had a separate page where people can, where the next million people can, set up their business information. So you're only limited by your imagination. So that means that you should be spending a lot of time working on your imagination, thinking about how big can ideas be, thinking about big ideas, and thinking about how you can implement those big ideas, because you're only limited by your imagination. And in this day and age of AI and online businesses and all the technologies available to us, you can literally will anything into existence if you, or for starters, have the right imagination and if you can think big. So when you're thinking about business ideas, when you're thinking about what to pursue, always have at the back of your mind and ask yourself, am I limiting myself by my imaginations? And that's a very, very important thing to think about. The second thing is creativity is key. So it's very crucial that if you're thinking of a new business idea, there are two ways to think about it. You can think of solving an old problem in a new way, or you can think of solving a new problem using old technologies or old ways. So in between those two approaches, creativity is key, because if you want to solve a new problem using old technologies, you have to find a way to make it creative. And if you want to solve old problems using new ways, you have to find creative ways to do that. So it's very crucial that you are thinking about how to creatively solve problems, and that doesn't happen out of a vacuum. It's a muscle that you have to practice and hone on a very frequent basis. That means that you should be trying new things, experimenting, always open to new ideas. For example, AI is a new kid on the block right now. It's the latest technology, and I would be saying, if I were in your shoes, try and experiment, try and learn how to use it. What's the third lesson I've learned from Alex and his success is that persistence pays off. So Alex actually faced a lot of rejection when he was trying to sell a spot on his website for $1. Even though it was $1, people were still saying no and resistant to paying that dollar to him. Imagine that. And Alex was persistent, and even though he was facing a lot of rejection and people were skeptical about the idea, he didn't let that stop him. He persisted, and eventually his idea gained traction and became a huge success. So whenever you're starting something new, for the first little while, the first few clients are always the hardest. And if you can persist, if you can keep going, keep pushing, you're eventually going to find success, and that will just lead to a floodgate of opportunities. But that initial first few is always very difficult. Alex Owasi talked about the fact that the first 20 hours of any activity, any business, any venture is always your hardest, and a lot of people quit in that first 20 hours. And if you can power through that first 20 hours for a new business, a new venture, a new idea, a new whatever it is you're trying to launch, you will find that it gets relatively easier after that first 20 hours, because that's when it's really the toughest and when most people will quit. So the fourth idea is take calculated risks. So Alex's idea was risky, but it took a calculated risk, because technically he was only investing $50 in just buying the domain name for the website and then his time. So in the idea of taking risk, you have to always be very balanced, of course, but you have to also be willing to put it out there. And especially if the upside is going to be great, if you find success, then there's no reason for you not to go all in and take risk. Because the worst thing that can happen to somebody is always thinking in the back of your mind, I wish I had done that thing, or what if I had done that thing. You never know if something will take off or not. So just take a risk and just get it done. Especially if you're young, if you're looking to start out in your career as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to take risks, and that was what Alex did. The fifth lesson is to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. At the end of the day, you have to bet on yourself. If you can't bet on yourself, then no one is going to bet on you. No one is going to believe you. You have to start with yourself by being willing to put a bet on yourself, and that's what Alex was willing to do. He was willing to become what Ravikant talked about. He talked about being accountable. Accountability under his own name. He was willing to put his name on the line, put his reputation on the line, put his everything about him on the line, because if he failed, then his name would be associated with that failure. But he was successful, so obviously his name is associated with that success as well. So you have to be willing to believe in yourself and be accountable and take risks in your own name. The last lesson that I have learned is to solve a problem. So regardless of whatever your idea is, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that your idea for business is tied to solving a specific problem for a specific person. Now, there's a lot of work to do in terms of how much investigation you should have to really understand the nature of the problem you're trying to solve. But if your idea is not solving a problem and delivering a quantifiable ROI for somebody out there, then your idea or your business idea is not going to go anywhere. So make sure that whatever idea you have, it's solving a specific problem for a specific person, because that's the key to having a sustainable and successful business. So this is just some interesting thing I learned about, and I thought I'd share this with you. Let me know if you enjoyed this story and if it made sense to you, and if you like some of the lessons that I've shared from the story. If you do like something like this, I'll be doing more deep dives into interesting business stories like this. And of course, if you like this, subscribe. If you go to my channel, I have lots of other videos around entrepreneurship, marketing, AI, and a lot of ideas to help you grow your online business and generate money online. My name is David, and it's a pleasure sharing this story with you. Subscribe, like, and comment on this video if you like it, and I'll see you in the next video.